Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's continue by being this very strange man. Yep, that's all I have to say about him. But very bitter was his drink, and when he left, I did fall prostrate on my table. Let me stop you there. Mr. Natsume left your room at 11 o'clock, but it wasn't until after 2 that the poison made you collapse. That amounts to more than 3 hours of missing time. Look at those wonderful movements. If the defendant had really put the poison in your tea, that 3-hour window of time is something you're going to have to explain. Gladly, 'tis an easy task. What? I did drink of the tea, not while my guest dysentery, but after he took a leave of me. Faith 'twas stone cold, but at 1 hour post midnight, verily were my lips
Objection!
That doesn't sound normal. Nay, 'tis quite ordinary, sire. After all, thou wouldst recall our fiery debate. Amidst such argument, there'd be no time for a fiery tea. Romeo and Juliet again, and who was stronger? Mr. Shamspeare, in summary, allow me to confirm. Did you not come here with the intention of naming your attacker? But of course, my liege. 'Twas the stooped lover of words that attempt to shuffle me off this mortal coil. We all know what that means. 'Twas the tea alone that passed my lips in late hour, nothing else.
Hold it!
So, you didn't have any kind of evening meal, dinner, supper? Fie of luxury, fie on gluttony. To eat thrice daily is but a waste of time. Sorry? I would that my belly were full, no more oft than the sun doth rise. Well, most heroic eating habits, I must say. Night and day do I fill my hours with the learned study of the great bard and playwright. Hence is it that there doth not in my chamber be then the costume of mine art? That would appear to be the case, as even a rodent was found starved to death in your room. Oh my gosh, it's so sad. Now I think about it, it's not just food that was conspicuously missing from that room, is it? I do recall seeing a single play or script anywhere. For I have devoured them all. You ate them all. You've eaten them. Every word be within my skull. Didst thou imagine otherwise? Right, that wasn't misleading at all. And now that you turn around... Now, could you turn around, do you think? This guy most likely poisoned himself from all the ink he just ate. Oh, gosh. Which brings us to the conclusion that the only way the poison could have passed the victim's lips is in the tea. Well, he literally just admitted he eats paper. Yes. I was outside this bloke's house in the evening cold all night, keeping an eye on his room.
Hold it!
But the windows of the house have all been filled in. Historical artifact of now defunct window text. Yeah, you're right. They're all bricked up horribly. But as it happens, there's a little part of the brickwork at the bottom corner that's opened up. I was looking in through the gap. Yes, there were a few bricks loose, weren't there? And for some strange reason, a couple of bars of soap lined up on the ledge outside as well. I don't like going around poking my chin in other people's business, especially on the freezing cold night, but them's my orders, so that's what I keep doing as long as there's breath in my body. What's with all the theatricals today? Out of interest, Mr. Meterman, after the accused had left and returned to his lodgings, did you see the victim leave the room at all? No, he never left. He was in that room the whole time as I'm concerned. And we can therefore discount the possibility of suicide. How can you be so sure of that? The police carried out a thorough investigation of the scene and found no receptacle of poison. And since we know the victim didn't leave his room, and hence didn't dispose of the poison's container himself, it's clear that this was no attempted suicide. Only the culprit could have removed the receptacle. Ah, yes. Ludicrously explained, counsel. Thank you. It really was you who can't argue with logic. No one else visited his room but that short little round-back Eastern fella. You say a short little round-back Eastern fella, so you can't be sure it was the defendant. Objection! How many other short little round-back Eastern Nipponese with a mustache do you think there are in London? Well, of course, it's only a narrow gap, and it's quite dark, so I didn't notice the mustache. But he showed up at around 9, I'm pretty sure of myself. And when the person you saw arrived, did he and Shamsfield drink tea together? Nah, sorry, I couldn't say. Why not? Because I couldn't see into the room all that well, could I? What I did see was the silhouette of that little round-back fella wearing a pretty dress. A pretty dress? What? Oh, yeah, wait. Then the pair of them started some kind of wrestling match, I tell you. I don't know what to make of it. I suppose that was the Romeo and Juliet championship battle getting underway. We're talking about this so many times. Mr. Meterman, allow me to confirm one final time. Apparent from the accused, can you state with certainty that no one else visited the victim on the night in question? I just realized my voice was weird. No question, Gasman's honor. Oh, who said hold it? My lord. Goodness me, Mr. Foreman. I've kept my mouth shut and listened up to now, but this has gone long enough. Are you with me? Yes. Are we to understand that you ladies and gentlemen of the jury are in agreement with one another? That you've reached a unanimous decision? Too right we have. Are you with me, all? Yes. Wait, no, the defense is in the middle of cross-examination. To be honest, I was holding out a bit of hope for you, young man, especially after you identified those few hours that followed the accused leaving the victim's room. Yes, the 3 missing hours, as you put it. But in the end, what difference do they make? None, as far as I can see. And since that now apparent, there's really no reason to delay our decision any longer. Like I was saying before, if I don't take 5 bombs home with me tonight, the missus will blow her top. What's that? Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said. Yeah, thanks, old man. You're always the best jury that we can have. Very well, let the court be apprised of your decision. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings as the defendant's culpability. Guilty!
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
Guilty.
All of you? Well, it would appear that the jury is indeed unanimous. I love how they just jump to conclusions so quickly. So, this time at least it seems justice will be done. All's well that ends well, as they say. This calls for a toast, I feel. To the guilty being punished. Time for a summation examination. Get up, Mr. Naruto, please. The trial isn't over yet. What do you mean, Mr. Sato? What about the information I found in this encyclopedia of British law I have? That obscure rights that belongs to the defense in these situations. Remember? I love how they have to explain it to us like it's the first time, because this is the second game. So they sometimes will expect people to not play the other one. Yes, that's right. We don't have a jury in Japanese court, of course. But here in the British Court of Law, we can reserve the decision of a majority of the jurors. We can force the trial to continue. This trial can't end now. Whatever it takes, I just can't let that happen. The defense moves to invoke its right to a summation examination, my lord. Why am I not surprised? I'm a learned Nipponese friend's inability to admit defeat. You chose to cling desperately to some archaic rule you barely comprehend instead of accepting the truth. Certainly no other defense counsel in these recent times has exercised the right to a summation examination. Because they all know that once the jury's mind is set, it cannot be altered. Nevertheless, that right remains and must be upheld. I mean, we've done it loads of times. I can't believe these people still think that. The defense counsel request is granted. The court will proceed with a summation examination as outlined in the Encyclopedia of British Law. Thank you, my lord. Are you ready and you and your fellows prepared, Mr. Foreman? Believe me, my lord, we all know all about this young lad's tenacity. And we're ready for it. Very well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby call upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime for which he stands accused. Judicial findings. Wait, was that a different name? The victim may not be well off, but he's a noble man and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man. Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops all the while, and he's a mustache, very fishy. There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman, for now at least. I really don't care, I just need this trial to end quickly. 3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know. Nothing at all. Oh, what a lovely old man. I knew it. Every single one of them seems completely convinced. It would seem that all the jurors have come to a conclusion that Mr. Shamspeare is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen. If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by his strange theatrical movements. And sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume has said appears to have registered at all. Well, here goes. Let's not forget. I pleaded with the jurors on Seki's behalf before, and it worked. So you never know. Before we begin, it might be an idea for me to remind you exactly how a summation examination works, Mr. Naruto. Oh. Well, you're still very new to British law, of course. That's true. I suppose Saseki-san's fate is entirely in my hands now, too. There's always a chance I might have forgotten something crucial. I wonder, should I let her talk to me through it again or not? No need! I definitely know what I'm doing. Thank you for the kind offer, Mr. Sato, but I've been through plenty of summation examinations already now. I think it's important that we don't delay and delay the start any longer than necessary. Of course, I understand. I'm quite sure you're right. If you're confused by anything at any point, you can turn to me for advice whenever you like. I'll be here for you. The key to this is really listening carefully to each juror's statement. Finding two that are contradictory and pitting the corresponding jurors against each other. Okay, you still have to give me like a short tutorial. Without further ado, please, counsel, proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Alrighty. Now we wait. That guy has his smiling in the background so much. The defense is rebuttal. The victim may not be well off, but he's a noble man straight up. There's no need to doubt the man.
Hold it!
Well, there are plenty of people in London who seem noble but poor. Couldn't some of them also be liars? I've no doubt about it. Like that shaky client of yours, for example. Absolutely not. Mr. Natsume is no liar. Look, the point is, the only thing that passed the victim's lips that night was the Japanese man's teeth. When you take the gas man's testimony into account as well, the truth couldn't be any clearer. Well, that's alarmingly logical. But let me be frank here. I'm a gentleman with a gentleman's value. If it turns out that the old Shakespeare chum is a rotten liar after all, I'd gladly change my decision about the defense. And I'm sure my fellow gentlemen of the jury would do the same. Is that right? Well, yes, perhaps. Though I don't see it happening. Oh, what's that? Utterly gentle the end here, you know, you'll have to speak up. Look, I don't really care about all this nonsense. I just need this trial to be over. How many gentlemen do we actually have on the jury then? Alright, sir, I may hold you to that. Don't forget what you said. Okay, well, we're done with that. Well, I do declare, good gentlemen have no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Are you saying you believe the man to be trustworthy because he's rather splendid? No, that's not what I said. The point is, the man is the victim here. What reason would he have to lie? And yes, he's rather splendid. So you say yet again. Meanwhile, the man who stands accused behaves so suspiciously, it's exhausting to look at him. I'm afraid he's not splendid at all. Splendid logic here, madam. Thank you very much. Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops all the while, and has a mustache, very fishy. No. Not one of those things is a reason to find the man guilty. But he is fishy. There's no doubt dancing around the fact. He's Japanese, he has a mustache, and he stoops. You see, you arrived at the conclusion in just 3 steps. 3 steps like waltz and facts. You know, the more I think about it, the more this trial seems like a dance. You seem to be several steps ahead of yourself, though, and you're on the wrong foot. No, there's nothing but circumstantial evidence here. There's no actual proof of the defendant's guilt. But the victim's version of the events is backed up by what the big shin man next to him says, isn't it? 1, he saw the Japanese man there. 2, he saw no one else. And 3, he saw the Japanese man there. Oh, there's another 3 steps. All this really does seem more and more like a waltz, doesn't it? Right, and the prosecution will waltz his way to victory if I let you speak much more. There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman. For now, at least. Fraudsman? What do you mean by that, madam? It's really a most tiresome problem for the company. Most irritating. We can be absolutely certain that a customer is stealing from us without hard evidence. We can't threaten to take action for fear of being sued. I'm sorry, you lost me a little there. Who are you? I'm the wife of Augustus Ultimate, owner of the Ultimate Gas Company. Good gracious, Ultimate Gas, you say? Gas is the future of energy in this country and around the globe, but proper handling is essential. As I'm sure an employee from the Far East branch office would be the first to agree. Absolutely, Lord Quinby. Gotta be used properly. Ultimate Gas is the best in the world, of course. I think we may have solved the mystery of the bow from earlier, Mr. Naruto. Right, he bowed in defense to his employer's wife, did he? So would I be right in assuming that the reason Mr. Meterman was watching what Mr. Shamsfield was up to in his room? I'm afraid there's no doubt and to the lengths of population of the Far East End will go to in order to steal our gas. So I really have no choice when the company identifies somebody as a possible fraudsman, but to dispatch a worker to watch the suspect day and night. We're very thorough in our investigations. So you mean Mr. Shamspeare is... I want to come out and say it in public, but you can finish the sentence with a grubby little gas thief. You have noticed the public gallery in here, have you? The eye of mine hath not heard, the ears of man hath not seen. Faith, wouldst thou wounds me with thy words were I do. to let them penetrate the skin. But serfs hear not insults, only choirs of angels in song. We may have not have evidence yet, but my workers won't stop buzzing around you until they find it. And when they do, you'll find yourself blasted back to your angelic heights in an ultimate gas explosion. So Mr. Shakespeare has been stealing gas. Wonder, juror number 4, if you wouldn't mind adding that information to your statement. My pleasure. Was it a bit about ripping the thief apart you enjoyed? A little before that part about abject violence, if it's not too much trouble. Yes, of course. This could be it. This could be to shift the balance. Alright, I think I'm gonna have to stop this part here. I'm a bit off my game, as you say. So thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and until then, I will see you all later. Goodbye.